I had a dream last night. I dreamt we were riding the bike and it wasn't raining. In fact, the weather was wonderful, hot, sunny, and not a cloud in the sky.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Where were we?
Well, that's the thing. I thought we were somewhere in the UK. It almost felt like reality. But as I progressed, I realised it must be a dream because it was more and more fantastical, like Alice in Wonderland.
Interesting. Why was that then?
Well, the perfect weather for starters, but also we were on a coast road with miles of sandy beaches and beautiful blue-green sea. And then we came to a town, the perfect seaside resort. It was like 100 years old, but also like it was built yesterday. If the people had been wearing Victorian clothes, I would have thought I was in a time machine.
Oh, wow. I wish you could take me there. It sounds great.
It was great, and you were there in my dream. What more could I want? My motorcycle, great weather and you. But like any dream, it became more and more unbelievable.
Oh, why is that then?
Well, the town led to the most perfect biking coast road you've ever seen. It was perched on the side of a lozenge-shaped hill. The road went all the way round the hill and came back to the town. Its only purpose was for motorcyclists to enjoy its gentle curves while taking in the stunning scenery and sea views. It was amazing. Hang on, this is the place. This is the town I was dreaming about.
Really?
Yes, that coast road should be just along here.
Well, what a dreamer. I hope you enjoyed Jared's imaginative leap into the world of augmented reality. Have you made the connection yet? Did you know Llandudno has a strong link with Alice in Wonderland and the writer Lewis Carroll? His real name was Charles Dodgson, and the books are inspired by Alice Pleasance Liddell. Carroll was a friend of the Liddell family and made up the stories to keep Alice and her sisters entertained. In the 1860s, he spent many summers at the Liddell's holiday home on Llandudno's west shore. It's been long speculated that Carroll's stories are based on Alice's adventures in Llandudno. Either way, it hasn't stopped the town making the most of it ever since. In 1933, former Prime Minister David Lloyd George unveiled an iconic White Rabbit statue. And today there are various Wonderland town trails and a veritable army of statues and carved figures to see. Going back to Jared's dream, if you haven't seen it, we ended last week's episode riding this amazing coast road. It was the end of a long day that we covered in the last 3 episodes, which included Merseyside, Liverpool, the Wirral and the North Wales coast. The road is so good, we just had to do it again this morning with the sun on the other side of the hill. We hope you enjoy riding it again. This trip has been an amazing experience, and the Great Orme has to be among the highlights. Quite an accolade considering the places we've been. Don't worry if you've only recently joined us though. If it feels like too many episodes to catch up, just stay with us from here and pick up episode 1 at the end. In fact, we've already started to go round again.
What's the plan today then, pilot?
Well, we're making our way to Anglesey, but I'm not sure we'll get there in this episode. We've got Conwy and Bangor to tick off before then. Right now we're heading down the west shore of Llandudno to Llandudno Junction, where we'll be crossing the River Conwy into the town. It's a fascinating old place, dominated by the castle and old town walls. Today, there are 4 ways to cross the River Conwy into the town. The first crossing was built by Thomas Telford in 1826 to replace the ferry. You can see how Telford designed the bridge's supporting towers to match the castle's turrets. Between 1848 and 1849, the 2 tubes were built by Robert Stevenson to carry the railway. The bridge we're crossing was completed in 1958, and Telford Suspension Bridge is now for pedestrians only. But since 1991, there's also a tunnel that carries the North Wales Expressway. The castle and town walls were built by Edward I as part of his Ring of Iron during his conquest of Wales. They are part of a World Heritage Site, Castles and Town Walls of King Edward in Gwynedd.
People born within the town walls of Conwy are nicknamed jackdaws after the birds which live on the walls. There's so much to see in this small but perfectly formed historic town, all within easy walking distance. It's one of those places that's like a living museum, and another great example of why the UK doesn't need theme parks. To top it all, it also has Britain's smallest house.
This is part of the Ep55, commonly known as the North Wales Expressway, that runs from Chester along the North Wales coast to Anglesey. The road has gradually been upgraded over the years and is now a major dual carriageway primary route, but not quite a motorway. For obvious reasons, we've been avoiding it as much as we can, but for the next 6 miles there's no alternative. Even if there was, there's no way you could get closer to the coast unless you were riding on the beach. This section has required some impressive engineering to be able to navigate 2 major headlands. Work has involved the cutting of several hard rock tunnels over the years, and the road has eventually evolved to what it is today. The road has replaced the original coach road built by Telford in the early 19th century. Cut into the cliffs by hand, Telford's narrow winding route hugged the contours around both steep headlands. Thankfully, the old route has been preserved and is now a cycleway. The engineering has meant that the carriageways diverge for much of this section and provide a distinctly different experience. So we rode back to Conwy so we could take it all in.
Oh, I feel like I'm going to bang my head.
Plan something. A small Welsh town with a very long name.
I wonder what that island is out there. Oh, look at that. We're going to have to change sides. I'm rather enjoying the colours of these terrace houses. Look at that. Nice pastel seaside colours. Beach hut colours, aren't they?
Gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous.
To load a map, so we're hoping that we've got a connection. What's this? Is this a canal that's coming down a river?
A river. Off the mountains, isn't it?
So we're not sure, but we think that could be Bangor Castle. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it must be. Castle number 2 of the day.
Okay, there it is. Sorry, it says it on the side there.
Penryn. Penryn Castle. Not at Bangor yet then. This is Bangor. Oh, I wonder if that lady will give us away. Oh no, it's a bloke. Love him. Oh, very nice. God, wind's coming in there.
Look at that.
So
That's the pier at Bangor.
oh, bless.
Its proper name is Garth Pier, and it is a fine example of a Victorian pier built primarily to provide passengers with an easy and pleasurable walk to and from paddle steamers.
Does it go all the way across? No.
Yeah, it almost looks like it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was wondering where the end was. But no, it doesn't.
It's almost as if they got halfway across, and for just a bit more, we could have made a bridge out of it.
Yeah.
It was opened on the 14th of May 1896. Like many piers and other grand structures from the Victorian era, it fell from fashion and became an expensive hindrance. In 1971, the pier closed on safety grounds. It eventually ended up in the hands of the local borough council in 1974, who took the immediate decision to demolish the pier, but Bangor City Council objected. The pier was saved and restored and eventually reopened on the 7th of May 1988. The fact that it already extends over half of the Menai Strait has not been overlooked, and periodically it is suggested it could provide pedestrians and cyclists with a dedicated crossing.
Despite having a population of only 18,000, Bangor, by virtue of its cathedral, is one of Wales's 7 cities. But it's by no means the smallest, which has a population of 1/10 of that size. Bangor is Wales's oldest city and the first of 5 that we will be passing through on our coast adventure. Can you name the other 4? Let us know in the comments.
Look at that.
Bangor owes a lot of its prominence to the road that passes through the middle of it and crosses into Anglesey and onto Holyhead, from where Ireland can be reached via the port. It's the A5, not the A55 we were on earlier. It runs for about 243 miles from Marble Arch in London to the Irish Sea. In many parts the route follows that of the original Roman road, which the Anglo-Saxons called Watling Street. In 1800 the Act of Union unified Great Britain and Ireland, and the decision was made to create a route between the two capitals. As well as Watling Street, existing turnpike roads were bought out and improved, and where necessary, new roads were constructed. This made it the first major civilian state-funded road building project in Britain since Roman times. Thomas Telford, who was already a renowned engineer, was put in charge of the project. Telford designed it so that the road's gradient never exceeded 1 in 17. The route through Wales retains many of the original features of Telford's road and has been recognised as an historic route worthy of preservation. About 40% of the original road and its ancillary features survive. These include features such as toll houses, depots, distinctive gates, milestones and a weighbridge. So, the Menai Bridge, built by Thomas Telford. Telford's road was complete with the opening of the Menai Suspension Bridge in 1826. Suspension Bridge? So I suppose Anglesey technically is an island, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very close to the mainland, but technically an island.
There's the other bridge.
The other bridge over there, I'm not quite sure what that one's called, but that's an equally, well, I'm not sure equally, but it's an old bridge still. We've come across the famous Menai Bridge. The Menai Strait separates the island of Anglesey from mainland Wales. It is 16 miles long and varies in width. Telford's bridge takes advantage of the narrowest point and spans 1/4 of a mile. At its widest, the strait is nearly 5 miles. Before the building of the bridge, various ferries vied for trade, but, by all accounts, it was a very perilous crossing, with constant strong currents and winds. There was no rail bridge until Robert Stephenson completed the Britannia Bridge in 1850. It was a replay of the two great engineers' accomplishments over the River Conwy. Stephenson once again used a tubular design for the rail bridge. This is unusual, with only 4 notable bridges having ever used the design worldwide. The Conwy Bridge is the only remaining tubular bridge because, on the 23rd of May 1970, the Britannia Bridge was heavily damaged. Boys playing inside the structure dropped a burning torch, setting alight the tar-coated wooden roof of the tubes. It was impossible to extinguish, and the fire travelled the full length of the bridge before burning itself out. The towers were retained, but the rest of the structure, including the innovative tubes, were replaced with a more conventional deck supported by steel arches. The new design incorporated a road with the addition of a second deck. This is now the primary road crossing.
And we can say, welcome to Anglesey.
We've run out of time this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. There is lots to show and tell you about as we ride around Anglesey, so we will leave this episode here and take you with us next time. For now, we will finish with a couple of outtakes, one that will bring a smile, but the other won't. Join us next week for more coast adventures.
And we can say, welcome to Aberystwyth.
Or even Anglesey.
Where did that come from? Welcome to No.
Invited to a party by a girl, and we went to the house, and her parents had gone out and locked the house, so we decided to go down to the tube for a walk.
Well, now, how did you come to light a fire or strike a match or whatever it was? What happened?
Well, there was a page of a book on the floor, and I had my lighter, and we lit the paper and threw it in behind one of the girders. I wish we hadn't gone to no party now.